Hey, what's up YouTube? Brian Fajoli here. And today I have something that I've really been looking forward to for quite some time. This is the Thunderbolt 3 dock from OWC. Now this is primarily designed for the MacBook Pro, the newest model, but it should work with other Thunderbolt 3 compatible computers as well, possibly Windows and Linux machines, but it is primarily designed for the MacBook Pro. And some people have issues with the MacBook Pro because it only has USB Type-C / Thunderbolt 3 ports. So if you have USB Type-A devices and you want to hook up to a monitor and you have an SD card that you need to read, you can't do any of that, right? So you need dongles. So this Thunderbolt 3 dock is designed to be a single cable solution. So basically one cable going from your MacBook Pro to this dock, and then you have all these special ports and things available to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox it, and we'll take a look at all the things that it offers. But let's first take a look at the front of the box, and it kind of shows what this has. So it says USB 3.1 Gen 1, so those are Type A ports. It's Thunderbolt 3 compatible, of course. It actually has a FireWire 800 port, which not a lot of people still need nowadays, but if you are a long-time Mac user, you may have something that still uses FireWire 800. It has an SD card reader right on the front, nice and convenient place. Gigabit Ethernet, so if you're setting this up as a home, like a desktop, where you want to come home, plug in your MacBook Pro, you can leave your hardwired internet connected to this, and then when you connect the single cable to your MacBook Pro, you'd have wired Ethernet, which is always preferred to wireless if you can. SPDIF digital audio, so there's an optical audio on the rear. And it also has a 3.5mm headphone jack on the front, and it has mini display port. All right, so let's go ahead and unbox this. So the first thing I want to do is take off this plastic. Okay, and let's take a look at the rest of the box. So it says here, let's read this. With the 13 ports you need, OWC's Thunderbolt 3 dock brings more connectivity, more power, and more charging capability than ever before, all at the fastest speed available today. You can drive 2 4K displays, connect and charge up to 6 USB devices, work with legacy FireWire storage, enjoy pristine audio, wired networks, and read SD cards, all at twice the speed of Thunderbolt 2, and all through a single cable. The possibilities are endless. And that's another thing I should mention, is that this will also charge your MacBook Pro when you're using this dock. So what's really cool is, let's say you need let's say when you go on the go, you want you need an AC adapter in your bag. You can leave the AC adapter in your bag, and when you're home, this will charge it. So when you buy this, you're also kind of getting another AC adapter. You can kind of think of it that way, because it can be used as your home charger for your MacBook Pro. So we can see some of the ports here as well. So it's actually a really nice box the way this is laid out. So it shows you can use an SD card, 3.5mm audio. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 USB Type A ports. So there's let's see. Yeah, they're all 3.1 Gen 1, which is a fancy term for USB 3.0. So these are all USB 3.0. So you have 4 Type A ports in the rear, 1 on the front. And the one on the front will be handy for things like a flash drive. Let's say you want to plug in a flash drive real quick. You can do that. You have optical out here if you have a stereo receiver, or some computer speakers do use the optical out. There's that FireWire port, the Ethernet. Then there's two Thunderbolt 3 connectors here. So one would plug into the computer, of course. It would plug into the MacBook Pro. The other then is a Type C / Thunderbolt 3 port that you could use to connect things. So you could even use it with a dongle to connect USB Type A ports. That should work as well, to give you an additional Type A if you need that. Here we have DisplayPort, which of course you can use an adapter to go from mini DisplayPort to full DisplayPort to power a display, to power the monitor. And there is the AC in for the dock itself. So what's cool about this is there's no tape on the box from what I can see. I can open it right away. That's cool. And I mentioned earlier that it's designed for the MacBook Pro, but it will work with other machines. So it actually has here a notice for Windows PC. So it says, this dock is certified for Windows. However, if you purchased a Windows PC before July 2016, make sure your PC has the most recent versions of BIOS, Thunderbolt 3 driver, and Thunderbolt 3 firmware if possible. So this may work with your Windows machine, but you're going to want to make sure that you update everything that you can update. So make sure your BIOS is up to date. You know, first try it. If it works, fine, because you never want to really mess with the BIOS unless you really have to. So I should preface that. So, you know, try the dock first. If it gives you any issues in Windows, then you might want to try updating your BIOS and going that route. But, you know, BIOS is always at your own risk. I've never had any trouble with it, but some people have, of course. So, again, we see what's in the package here. So the booklet showing us that it has the dock itself, the power supply and cable, and it comes with a Thunderbolt 3 cable. So that's a nice thing. You don't have to buy that separately. That comes in the box, of course. So let's see. It works with macOS 10.12.2 or later. So make sure you're on 10.12.2 or later. And it says PC is Windows 10 or later. So it could work with Windows 8.1, but you know, OWC is saying you need Windows 10 or later for it to work, minimum. So that's really what you should stick with. Important, remove the thin plastic film from the top and bottom of the dock before use. Okay, that's probably for cooling purposes. You don't want to leave that plastic on. So let's see, data, LED green. This will glow green when the dock has an active data connection through a computer and the Thunderbolt cable. So when you're connected, it should have a green LED. There's a power LED blue. This LED will glow blue when the dock receives power. Okay. SD card slot, except of course that's, you know, accepts SD cards. Combo audio port. So this actually does microphones and headphones. The one port's like a headset jack. And in the back, you see the different ports again. So they're really giving you lots of explanations. The box is showing you how everything works, and here you're also seeing a diagram of everything and what it does. And I do want to check number 5. So connect one port to the Thunderbolt port in your computer. Use the other port to connect up to 5 additional Thunderbolt devices plus a display. Supports display port 1.2 for up to 4K resolution at 60 Hertz. So if you did have like one of those fancy LG 5K monitors or 4K monitors that use Thunderbolt 3, you could just kind of daisy chain it off of this as well, connect it right to that. You don't even have to use that display port if you don't want to. So let's see what else is in the box. The dock is right on top. I'm just going to take that out first and see what else we have in here. There's a little cardboard insert in the top. I'm just going to throw that to the side for a moment. And let's see. So here we have the AC cable. And this is going to go into the power brick. So this is a good cable. This will go into your wall. This will go into the power brick. And the power brick is right here. It's a pretty hefty brick, but keep in mind, you know, this is not going to travel with you. This is just going to plug into your wall, plug into the dock, and that's it. It's going to stay that way. So it doesn't matter that it's big or bulky. That's absolutely fine. It does have this nice Velcro strap here if you do want to keep the wire somewhat short and neat. So that would go in, you know, this would connect with this and go into the wall. Also in the box is the Thunderbolt 3 cable. And just trying to see if it's like a pouch or do I have to tear it open. Looks like I have to tear it, which is fine. I'll go ahead and tear the bag. And we have a nice Thunderbolt 3 cable, which is nice and short. You don't want anything too long, especially for power. Awesome. So we see here, it's a short cable. So we see both sides are labeled Thunderbolt 3 to let you know that it's an actual Thunderbolt 3 cable. Very cool. So let's just put the box to the side and look at the actual dock. So here's the dock. This model is space gray. I don't know if there's plans for them to make any other colors like silver or rose gold or anything, but this one is space gray. And if you remember in the manual, it said to remove the plastic film. So that actually has a little thing here that says please remove plastic film. The question is, how do I remove the plastic film? Is it going to be easy? See, I don't see like a tab or anything. Goodness, I don't know how to get to the plastic film. I'm just going to use my fingernail in the corner. Alright, this is not easy. Let's try the bottom first. So here's the bottom. Alright, the bottom has a little tab. Maybe I need to look harder on the top. Maybe there is one on the top. Was there a tab that I'm missing? I don't see a tab. So the bottom had a nice tab to take the top plastic off. The top doesn't, as far as I can see. So let's go ahead and... There we go. So you just got to peel with your fingernail a little bit. Okay, so the plastic has removed the top and the bottom. And this is really nice. So let's start with the bottom here. So we see a serial number on the bottom. It's like a plastic on the bottom, a shiny plastic, as you can see the light reflecting there. It's got 4 feet, non-skid feet. If you press in them, they do depress a little bit, so they grip a table. I'm just going to adjust the camera a bit here. Around the sides, however, it's all aluminum. So it's cold to the touch. It's a nice aluminum. And let's see. So we see the SD card slot on the front. It's actually labeled SD card. The 3.5mm audio port actually has a headphone, like a headset jack on it. And on the front here, we see a Type A port. On the rear, everything looks good. We see the Type A. There's 4 Type A ports here. The optical out, Firewire, Ethernet. Everything looks good. The only thing I did notice, if you look, let's see, the 3.5mm jack is just a little bit off. It's not centered in there. And I just want to see if I have, let's see what I have here. I do have some headphones, actually. Perfect. So I don't think that'll even be an issue, but let's see. Yeah, it's no issue at all. So you'll have no problem there. Unless you have like total OCD, it might bother you a little bit that it's not like totally centered, but it plugs in perfectly. So there's no worries there. So to show you how this would work, imagine this is plugged in to the wall, to the AC adapter. On the rear, this would plug into one of the Thunderbolt ports, right? So now this port would go into your MacBook Pro. I'll do a video on this as well as a review at Beta News. But the idea is this single cable, right? So let's say, and just to give you, just to further the image here. So let's say that's plugged into the wall. So this is plugged into the wall. Now there's a single cable, right? This single cable will plug into your MacBook Pro, and you'll have access to all these ports. You'll have access to all these USB Type A ports. You'll have access to optical audio, Firewire 800, hardwired Ethernet. So just imagine you always leave your hardwired Ethernet connected to this, and as soon as you get home, you plug in this one cable. This one cable starts charging a MacBook Pro. It gives you hardwired Ethernet access. And let's imagine you have, in this one, you have an external hard drive. In this Type A, you have a webcam. In this Type A, you have a mouse, and this one, a USB keyboard. Let's say you like hardwired keyboard and mice and things like that. Or let's say you have a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard. You can plug in an optical drive, a USB optical drive. Like I have a Blu-ray burner that works off a single Type A. I could plug that in there, right? So all these things I can leave connected. And when I come home, I hook up this one single cable, and my MacBook Pro becomes like a high-end desktop with all these extra, extra ports. So all these extra things that it can do. So I'm really excited about this, right? What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be connecting a monitor, keyboard, mouse, everything to this. I'm basically gonna fill up everything with the exception of the optical out, because I don't have speakers that use that. I have computer speakers that use 3.5mm. So I'll probably use a USB DAC. I have a digital audio converter that I'll plug into one of these Type A ports. The only thing that I kind of would prefer is, because I don't use the optical port in the back, right? I probably would prefer to have 3.5mm on the rear. I understand why they're putting it here, however, because a lot of people will want to just plug in some headphones. But for someone like me, I would probably, instead of the optical audio out, I'd probably like an analog 3.5mm out on the back. But like I said, I do have a USB DAC, and you can get one for pretty inexpensive. So if you did want to plug in a USB DAC to one of these Type A ports, you could do that. My monitor uses DisplayPort. I don't have a fancy, Thunderbolt 3 monitor, so I will use this DisplayPort here to use a mini DisplayPort to full DisplayPort adapter. All right, so I'm really excited about this, and it's cool that the space gray will match my space gray MacBook Pro. If you do have a silver MacBook Pro, like I said, I'm not sure if a silver model of the Thunderbolt 3 dock will be made available, but I hope they will. I hope they will have different colors. That'll be helpful for people who want all their, their accessories to match their computer. And it is cool to have the SD card slot in the front. It doesn't have a micro SD, but you can use an adapter, a full-size SD to micro, and just plug in right in the front. All right, guys, that's the unboxing. I really wanted to do that because I've been waiting like months for a product like this. I've used USB Type-C docks, docking connectors like this that use USB Type-C. And keep in mind, USB Type-C and Thunderbolt 3 are not one in the same. They use the same connector type, but Thunderbolt 3 is much faster. It just has much more capabilities. The Type-C gets saturated much faster if it's just a generic USB Type-C, and I've run into issues with them. A lot of them are very flaky, so I'm hoping to get great performance out of this, and I will test this. I'm going to test this with my MacBook Pro. I'm going to hook it up. I'm basically going to use everything on here, except, like I said, I'm not going to use the optical out or the FireWire 800, and make sure that there's no issues, no errors. I'm gonna test the heck out of it and let you guys know if you should buy this for your MacBook Pro. OWC has been making things for Macs for years and years and years, so you should be pretty confident in their quality. If you go to macsales.com, you can pre-order this for yourself. And keep checking back at betanews.com. Like I said, I will be reviewing this. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. All right, guys, that's the unboxing. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.